Hi, and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. Today we have a very special beer. It's a collaboration beer made by two of the finest breweries in the world, one from Japan and one from the United States. And those breweries are Shiga Kogen Beer and Hair of the Dog Brewing in Portland, Oregon. Shiga Kogen is a branch of Tamamura Honten, which was established in 1805 as a sake brewery. And they've been making beer for about 20 years now. And they have a head brewer whose name is Sato Ego, and he's quite the genius, I think. And they're well known for growing a lot of their own ingredients, and they have some very special beers called their Yamabushi series, which are very limited, very hard to get generally. But their regular line of beers is probably one of the best lineups of any brewery in Japan. And they have a festival called Snow Monkey Beer Live, and this beer was made as a collaboration with Hair of the Dog in Portland, Oregon. The brewer is named Alan Sprints, and they first made the beer in 2017, and then they made it again and barreled it, so it's called FromtheWood in this case. Well, let me just show you the beer here. And the Hair of the Dog was founded in 1993, so they've been around for almost 30 years. And they were founded by a brewer named Alan Sprints, who actually was a chef and had studied at Le Cordon Bleu culinary school, but was working as a home brewer on his own, and then decided to get into beer. And he right away he started doing things that were a little bit different from the typical brewery in Portland, Oregon, or in the United States. He started making when most brewers were making pale ales and beginning IPAs, he was making high alcohol beers and starting to use barrels, barreling beer, well before most people were doing that. And one of his inspirations was this man named Eckhart. His name is Fred Eckhart, and he wrote about beer. And Alan Sprints was inspired by him and decided to start making beers in the way that Fred Eckhart had talked about. And so Alan Sprints, and I have just kind of disclosure, I visited Alan Sprints. I had a private brewery tour with a friend in 2009, and that was at his old brewery, which is by the Brooklyn area railroad tracks in Portland. And we had a little private tour and sampled brews. He's since moved to a location on Yamhill Street, much bigger, much nicer actually, with a restaurant and a small restaurant and bar. And but I noticed he still has his old brew kettle there, this kind of like witch's kettle that we noticed when we were there. So he was inspired by Fred Eckhart, and he brews beers with names of people like Fred, like Adam, like Lila, like Rose. And his idea is that beers are individuals and they have character like people. So, and one of his first beers was this Adam beer, which is kind of an old style, which had more or less disappeared, and he kind of recreated it. So right away he was making things like barley wines and unusual beers like that. So any case, I remember when we left the brewery after our private tour, the next man coming through for a tour was Patrick Grew, who was a young and upcoming young brewer out of Southern California, the brewery, and we said hello to him on our way out, and actually we went to a sampling he had that night. He invited us to a sampling at what was the name of the place? It's now closed, down on Broadway, off of Broadway in Portland, Oregon. Can't think of the name of the place. Anyway, in any case, and I remember my friend saying, he must be one of the top 10 brewers in the world. And I said, well, and the other 9 are probably in Belgium. in any case, he's an impressive brewer, and he's maintained top quality standards. Well, let's take a look at this beer here. Again, it's called Shiga Kogen Tamamura Honten ECKHARDT Hair of the Dog. It's got a symbol for both of these on the back here. Tamamura Honten and Hair of the Dog. And it is an American strong ale, and it clocks in at 12.5%. And 74 international bittering units, and it was made with new oak barrels on the Shiga Kogen blog, which is called, what is it called, slow brewing. He mentions that this is the first time for them to use new barrels, and one of the problems is that new barrels give a very strong oak aroma, and so we'll see how it is. This was aged for 16 months in new American oak barrels. I'm not sure American oak, I assume they were, but in any case. So it's on Rate Beer, it has 68 ratings. Not Rate Beer. Rate Beer doesn't have any ratings yet. Untapped, 68 ratings when I checked, and the average was 3.99 out of 5. So pretty high. Looking forward to this. This is definitely going to be a sipper. American strong ale. Okay, it's got a kind of cloudy orange amber color. Almost no head, almost no lace. Carbonation seems minimal. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. This has got kind of the orange, like a orange cake. Marmalade, heavily grainy marmalade, orange marmalade. My flavor is very similar. It's definitely a strong ale, not a barley wine. Rich. The flavors kind of sneak up on you from mid-palate. They kind of expand out into stone fruit, caramel. The initial is kind of a full frontal attack. It does take till mid-palate to really let this open up a bit. Stone fruit, caramel. Hopping's there. It's quite warming. Definitely on the tongue. Wow. Well, this is definitely a sipper, not one you want to slam down. 12.5%. Wow, super warming. Yeah, I gotta go slow on this one. Yeah. Okay. The barrel element is clearly there, and I can see what they say about new barrel. It doesn't have the whiskey note at all, but kind of a fresh oakiness, and could be overdone. Wow, this is top-notch stuff. I think you should, if you can find this, give it a go. I don't know if it's where it's available now. I found it on a website. I have one more bottle, which I'm saving for a tasting session with friends here, and I'll bring that along. So this beer, again, is inspired by Fred Eckhart, kind of a legend on the west coast of the United States, since passed away. But if you ever get to Portland, you can buy Fred, which is made by Hair of the Dog. Okay, once again, this is called Shiga Kogen Tamamura Honten Hair of the Dog collaboration, ECKHARDT from the Wood. And yeah, I'm going to give this one of the highest ratings I probably have made in a few years. So really exceptional stuff. And that is it for today. If you have a comment and you'd like to talk with me about Shiga Kogen beers, or Hair of the Dog beers, please do. Okay, I used to get out. I mean, since the COVID started, I haven't been traveling much, but I used to go to Portland at least once a year, and try, different breweries there. I usually went for the Zwickelmania event, and going around to different breweries, and then on the other days trying different places as well. And Hair of the Dog is always a place to go back to. Well, you take care and stay healthy. Bye bye.